Merry Christmas from Doc. No, it's not quite time for that yet. But what it is time for is this facsimile edition of Christmas with the Superheroes from DC Comics. And it came out this past week, and it was absolutely a blast. I've got to say that all of these old Treasury editions that DC did back in the day, they've really hit a nerve. The House of Mystery one, this one, the Superman versus Muhammad Ali, all of them. But this one here, it really draws in with the Christmas spirit. It's hyper-focused on bringing positivity and cheer and reminding people why they should love this season and this time of year. So the first issue here, the first story, is with Superman and Santa Claus. And you get a story where Clark Kent and Lois find out about a child who has nothing. And then Superman finds out a boy who has a lot of toys, and he doesn't appreciate them. He says, I don't want a silly little toy. I have too many. What I want is a motorboat or maybe a yacht. And the butler says, but Master James, this gift is from your father. And so Superman carries the boy through the city, showing him a little girl who plays with a broken doll. And she's happy because she has something, even if it is broken. Then he carries him over to the home of Billy Connolly, who was the little boy that he originally saw that didn't have any toys at all. And the boy cries himself to sleep because he has nothing. And in the end, he tells the boy, he says, I hope you realize now how fortunate that you are and how very unfortunate many other children your age are. And in the meantime, you get two old men, Grouch and Meanie, who go up to the North Pole and they try to tell Santa Claus to stop making toys because they didn't have any toys when they grew up. And so they go and try different ways of foiling Santa Claus, like going up there and trying to destroy the toys, trying to capture his reindeer, and eventually Superman gets involved and they gas the reindeer so that the reindeer fall asleep. And Superman says, come on Santa, we gotta go. And he throws Meanie into the sleigh with Santa, and they travel around the world, and Superman delivers all of the toys in one evening. And at the end of the day, they promise, because Santa delivered them a toy, even though they were not nice, they were not good. And Grouch says, I never thought people could be like that. These are the first presents that we ever received. And they're old men. They're not young men at all. They're probably both in their 70s. And so Dr. Grouch says, if you'll shake my hand, I'll be the happiest man in the world. And Meanie says to Santa Claus, we promise to be kind from now on. You've taught us plenty. So you've got that story, and then you get another one called The Silent Night of the Batman, and it's by Neil Adams, and you get to see Batman singing Christmas carols. And you don't really think about it, but it's got an interesting type of dynamic where people are thinking about stealing things, and these couple of kids run off with a woman's toy for her child, and they open it up, and it's a Batman toy. And it makes them think, and so they just put it back, and they give it back to her. Meanwhile, he's still singing Christmas carols, and a guy's thinking about robbing somebody, and he bumps into who he thinks is Batman, but it's just a guy dressed as Batman with a Santa Claus beard on, and it says, support the Wayne Foundation Christmas Drive for the Blind. And something inside that man changes and makes him, a light clicks on in his head, and he says, what am I doing? And in the end, we get to see a lady who's waiting for her husband to come home. And he does on Christmas Eve. And so in the end, after they're singing Silent Night, then Batman looks up and he says, good heavens, it's 6 o'clock. We've been here singing all night. We haven't been disturbed by one report of robbery, murder, drug peddling, or anything. And he ends up going into Commissioner Gordon's office, and Gordon says, we've been here waiting all night, and not a single call has come in for you. It appears the investment you've put into the city has paid off, giving you a night off. So that was from Mike Frederick was the writer, and Neil Adams and Dick Giordano were the artists. Next up was Kane and the House of Mystery, and this is with Lynn Wein and art by Bernie Wrightson. And it's a very short story about a man who hears all of this negativity on the news, and eventually he's like, I gotta shut it off. I can't deal with this. And his wife says, well, let's go to bed. And so they did. And then they hear a prowler downstairs, and her husband goes and gets the shotgun, and he says, yeah, I'm gonna go down there and go blow his head off. And he comes back, and she says, Fred, what is it? Are you all right? And he said, don't worry, honey, everything's fine. And so at the end of the story, the very bottom, it says, quiet hoofbeats rose from the roof, carrying the sound of jingle bells out over the city towards the coming dawn. So it's insinuated, though it's never seen, that he met the real Santa Claus and that he had his Christmas spirit reborn within him. And that's what I'm saying is these books, they're all extremely focused on what they're trying to teach, and not really teach, but what they're trying to sell you on. Because DC realized these were big books, they were expensive even back in the day, and so people better get their money's worth for what they were buying. But more importantly, I feel like people, as far as creators, are more focused on providing an excellent story. Stuff that kids could read, stuff that parents could read to their children, stuff that grown people could read and still enjoy and get a story and a message out of. So if you didn't get a chance to get this is the non-foil cover, but it's absolutely a blast. And there's more stories behind it. I just wanted to highlight the first 3 stories that were in here. So if you want to sit down, read something with your kids, talk to them about the spirit of Christmas, remind them what that is all about. My birthday's on the 21st, so Christmas has always been my favorite holiday. And to see something that distills Christmas, and more importantly, the giving part of Christmas, the Santa Claus part of Christmas. It's not forcing religion on you, it's not forcing Jesus down your throat, but at the same time, you get the peace and the tranquility that the teachings of Jesus do give. So it's really, really an amazing book. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this real quick look at something that is bigger than life. And this is Christmas with the superheroes.